George, 75 horses in historic yard of Westbury, Desert Orchid, Rhyme and Reason. Keep Going, Compton Place, In the Groove, and Rafe Beckett's obviously Look Here, only a few seasons ago. You must pinch yourself.
No, I do pinch myself. I can't believe it. It's a cliche, but it really is a dream come true. I mean, this is beyond my wildest dreams. When I was working in the city for Bearings, shouting down telephones and watching Desert Orchid win the Gold Cup live at Cheltenham and watching him win the Boxing Day at Kempton and going there to watch him do it. If someone had said then I'd be training 75 horses at Westbury, I promise that if you'd offered me 10 million to one, I wouldn't have had a pound on it happening, because it would be the biggest waste of a pound that a man could possibly have. So yeah, I'm cliche, but we are living the dream here, definitely.
So you started off training 3.5 years ago. Why?
I think it was a combination of factors. I mean, primarily the first, the kickstart in the right direction was the downfall of Bearings when I worked in the city. Nick Leeson did his stuff out in Singapore, and ING, when they bought Bearings for the pound coin, decided that risk was something they weren't really keen to be involved in, and I was involved in pre-emerging markets, which was fascinating and a great time. But the ING got rid of the team that I was part of, and that set me off on a different course. I went to live in Vietnam for 3 years and came back from Vietnam, and I couldn't face going back into the city. Probably no one would have had me anyway, and ended up living at the bottom of Paul Webber's gallops. And foolishly for Paul, I said that I'd love to be his assistant, and he took me on, which was fantastic. Gave me the kickstart, gave me the chance to learn about this game, this great game of ours, and one thing led to another. And then I worked for the Sportsman newspaper that tried to take on the Racing Post about 4 years ago. When that came to an end, I was gutted, because I thought that would be, I was being paid to go racing and write about it, which was fantastic. And when that came to an end, I was gutted. And then enough people said that if we did this, they would support us. But and what I've done here is, I couldn't do this myself at all. I've surrounded myself with the right people, and that gives me a chance of making this work. We've got a great team here, a fun team. There's no way I could have done this, but I've got the right people around me, and we're giving it a pretty good crack, I hope.
So you went assistant to Paul Webber's, and then you bit the bullet. You wanted to be a trainer. You were a trainer in Warwick, and your first runner, 3.5 years ago?
3.5 years ago, Music Box Express. We sent him off down the drive on the 1st of March 2008. He was our first winner that same month. And yes, I mean, it was a great starting point. Morton Morrell. We had a gallop that ran up the side of the Fosse Way. We thought it was an amazing place until we had the chance to come and look at this. And when I read that Rafe was leaving, I jumped in the car and brought the Patrick and Valerie Murphy and Candida, my wife, down here, and got lost on the way, which wasn't very clever, because they thought we were moving to the bottom end of Cornwall. And halfway down they were saying, no way, we're going to come all this way. And then we got here and we saw this place, which you've seen this morning, and these amazing gallops. And once they walked out onto the gallops, I think that was the moment when I saw in their eye that I had half a chance of persuading them to come here. And please God, they did, and here we are.
Here we are, but what about back there? And what about the first few months? Surely it was like chalk and cheese, working in the city, on trains, on tubes, to training in Warwick, not really thinking, is this going to work or not?
Exactly, but it is, it is an oft-used cliche. I've already used it, living the dream. And yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity. It's tough, we're in the leisure industry, in the teeth of a desperate recession, and reading the papers recently, we've got a few more years of it before we battle out of it. But my view on that is, we started in a recession. If we can battle on through, if we continue to grow our business, train more and more winners, raise the quality of horse around the place, raise the quality of, of every part of every angle of our business. If we can keep doing that, when the good times roll again, hopefully we'll be in a position to really reap the benefits. And it is tough out there at the moment. And but people who are kind enough to support us, they deserve the utmost professionalism, and hopefully we provide that, but also make sure they have a very good fun time here, because they've decided to send a horse to me rather than having 4 season tickets at Chelsea or a fast car or a boat in the south of France. They've decided their release from their work is to have a horse with me, so therefore it's got to be fun, and even when they they drive out of the car park having come 17th of 19 at Catterick when I told them it would win. You know, if they drive away then saying it's good fun having a horse with us, that's when I've done my job, you know.
They've supported you, but you've supported them in just over 3 years. You're heading towards 200 winners now.
Yeah, I mean, we've had more winners every year. I think, you know, this year we've had 52 winners so far. Maybe he's got a couple more through December. We've had a winner at least for every one of the last 24 months, which I think is a key factor. You know, keeps the name in the frame, keeps your name in the media spotlight, and you know, by definition, when you start with a lot of pretty average horses. But if you can win with them, maybe people support you with the better horses as well, and then some of the people who send us horses, you know, they don't suffer fools gladly, and so fantastic to have support from some of the higher profile people, and hopefully that just sort of reflects on the whole business and gives us the chance to get more and more people involved here.
Well, 75 horses really sort of the number you're wanting to play with, flat and jumps. That's the way you want to keep it?
I think so, Niall. You know, from the beginning we had some people supporting us under both codes, so it was silly to cut the marketplace in half and say I'm doing one as opposed to the other. And also I think when you start it is important to try and keep the name in the frame all year round, and by training all year round, of course, with that comes the pressures of, you know, you're always on the treadmill. But I would prefer that rather than sort of just having defined seasons and being quiet for a few months, because people forget about you very quickly in whatever industry you're involved in, and particularly this industry. I think, you know, we are in difficult, fragile times, and you know, you just do need to keep the face and the team in the frame, and then you give yourself a chance.
It works here for numerous reasons, but one of them is like today, mid-December, you've got yearlings who are susceptible to sort of colds and runny noses, but you've got your other yard, what, a few hundred yards away?
Well, we've got the 2 yards here, as you've seen this morning, the bottom yard where we have primarily the older horses, up here on the top yard where we are now, the young horses, the yearlings, because we can go straight out to the gallops from here. You know, you wouldn't want the babies coming up and down the road, but from here they just head straight out to the gallops where you've been this morning, and yeah, I mean, it works. It's I think, yeah, by design, and I hope you've found that this morning, it's a very relaxed environment around here. Patrick and Valerie are particularly keen on not seeing people running around. I hate seeing people running around. I hate people shouting and screaming. I think if you have relaxed horses, you know, you give yourself half a chance. And the other thing that, you know, you've seen this morning, those gallops are completely unique, but we're not battling for gallop space. We haven't got, you know, when my horses have done their work, you were riding them yourself, you just lob home at your own speed. You haven't got 72-year-olds from someone else's place whizzing past you. You haven't got, you know, the horses have time, they do their work and they wander home on their terms. And you know, it just creates a very relaxed environment here. And you know, a lot of horses that perhaps wouldn't be suited to some of the bigger training regimes and training areas seem to thrive here.
Patrick Murphy and Valerie Murphy, you've touched on them briefly. They came with you?
Patrick and Valerie came with me. They were at Kildangan Stud together. That's where they met, and they spent a lot of time in Dubai. Yeah, I mean, they are the horse people. I met them when I was working with Paul Webber. They were riding out. They had their own business down the road in Brackley, breaking in and pre-training horses. And when I mentioned this mad idea, I mentioned it knowing that I couldn't do it without them coming with me. I don't think I overtly went up to them and said, "Will you come and do it?" I just cast a fly over them and hoped they'd leap at it, and thankfully they did, because you know, I couldn't do this. My name on the license, as I've said, but you know, they are the horse people. We work very closely as a team, the four of us, Candida, my wife as well. We make a plan for every single horse, and you know, we sit down once a week and go through every single horse. And you can't have a definitive plan that you stick to, because horses aren't like that. A not push-button machines. But at least if you make a plan, you know where you're trying to go with every single horse. And you don't, you know, you make entries that make sense, and you run your horses at a reasonable level. And that's what we try and do. We want to win horse races. And you know, the four of us think about it long and hard. We have a lot of fun doing it as well. You know, it's compared to shouting down telephones in the city and the pressures involved with dealing in billions of pounds worth of shares. Yeah, there is enormous pressure here to do well. There's enormous pressure from owners, understandably, for us to do our very best for them. But it is fun at the same time. Patrick and Valerie and Candida and I, you know, we are a team, and we try and we try and be very, very, very professional and get this job done to the best of our abilities, but have a laugh at the same time and enjoy it. And hopefully that's reflected in the atmosphere around the yard, the staff who work for me, and the owners we attract.
Okay, so you set up in Warwick, things go okay, go good, but then you move to one of the most famous training establishments in the country. When you arrive here, a key member of staff is here waiting for you, Daigo. He deserves a big mention.
Daigo is fantastic on the bottom yard. Yeah, he was here with Elsie and with Rafe, and I think when you sign the lease to come to Whitesbury, there's part of the small print involves Daigo, quite rightly, and he's been absolutely fantastic, as has Jose, who's my head lad on the top yard. They were both here with Rafe, as I said, and they didn't try and impose their values on what we were trying to do. I'm sure David Ellsworth did it one way, Rafe did it another way. We're doing it our way, but I'm sure there are similarities between the way we've done this and the way we've tried to sort of embrace their input. And they've been fantastic because they haven't put pressure on us. They haven't sort of said, oh, other people did it like this, people did it like that, whatever. They've evolved, they've let us make our mistakes, but yeah, no, fantastic to have people here who understand Whitesbury, because it's a big old place, and you know, we're still finding new gallops 9-10 months later. We're still finding new places, so we're finding new things to do with our horses. And yeah, I mean, I think this year was very much a bedding in year, which is an easy thing to hide behind. You know, this year, if it hadn't gone well, I could have hidden behind the fact that we're finding our way and it's a bedding in year and et cetera, et cetera. But you know, 52 winners is beyond my target, way beyond my target, and you know, it puts us under a little bit of pressure for next year, where we need to, you know, go again. But it's been great. We're still learning, and we'll probably, for the however long we're here, I'm sure we will continue to learn about Whitesbury. It's a magical place, and yeah, but the only downside to coming here, Niall, is I've got no excuses anymore.
This is good. Top people, top facilities, but you still need top horses to go to the next step. And you could have a couple going to Dubai this winter be a new thing for you. Belgian Bill, first of all?
Absolutely, Belgian Bill. I mean, I think you say the top quality horses. Yeah, walking around the place are all the blue plaques with the names of Desert Orchid and Persian Punch, and all the ones you alluded to earlier, Compton Place, Look Here, and sadly, none of our claiming wins are up on the blue plaques yet, but it would be great to add a few. And Belgian Bill, he's been a bit of a standard bearer this year. We took him to Nantes, where he was unlucky in a listed race, and you know, he ran very well at Royal Ascot when he was fourth, and then ran fantastically out in Istanbul when he was second. And what he proved then was that he loves travelling. I mean, he adored the whole thing of being on a plane and getting out there, and he got off the plane bucking and squealing and was fresh as paint. And a lot of the other horses, you know, a trip like that really takes it out of them. But he will go to Dubai. It's an awful long way to go to disappoint your owners, and I found that in Istanbul. I was sitting there at lunch with my owners beforehand thinking, what am I doing? You know, going to Southwell and disappointing your owners is hard enough, but taking them all the way out there. Luckily, Belgian Bill won, and half an hour later, the same owners, Daniel Jeffries and PGL Racing, they had a runner at Wolverhampton that won as well. That was my backup plan, so that was one of the good days, and you know it doesn't always work like that. But I think, you know, travelling and taking your horses abroad is something that we've got to do. And you know, everyone talks about prize money, and you know, from my perspective, it's never been part of the business plan, because prize money was appalling when we started. It's you know, any prize money you win has to be in the bonus column. But I think, you know, where we are geographically, we are now going to be looking to go to France a lot more. We can go down to Portsmouth and Poole and jump on the ferry and be in the French provinces very quickly and easily. There are opportunities across Europe, and it's easier to get to the French provinces than it is to go to Catterick or Sedgefield. So I'm sure we'll be doing that, but you need the quality of horse to go to these places, and that's where we want to be. That's where we want to be playing on the bigger stages. And yeah, Belgian Bill and Humidor going to Dubai, you know, that is a big stage, and that's where we want to be going.
Belgian Bill, we've seen Patrick Murphy on him this morning.
Absolutely, Patrick riding him this morning. Patrick gets on fantastically well with the horse, and Patrick took him to Turkey, and yeah, he loves the horse. He was a cheap purchase. Angie Loader, who's been a massive part of our team, bought him at the